Hello everyone, I Shubhe Kukreja welcome you all to this amazing session that is being conducted by NIT Meghalaya in collaboration with Deltron Technologies. Um, uh, it's my immense pleasure to introduce you all to Miss Deepti KS, who is here with us to have this session. Um, Deepti, yeah, I think we can all see Deepti now. Uh, Thank you so much, Deepti, for conducting this session on soft skills. I think this is one of the topic that every one of us can relate to. Um, and I also want to thank Deltron for conducting this session, having this session with us. Thank you so much. Over to you, Deepti.
All right, sound check. Can everyone hear me? I'd like to
Yes,
see a
yes, we can
yes
hear.
in the chat. Okay, great. So hi everyone, my name is Deepti. I have prepared a very short presentation for all of you because my intention is to keep this conversation more interactive and address queries that all of you in real life have. Um, So just to give you a short background about myself, I come with over 11 years of work experience in the corporate world, primarily in HR. I'm a software developer turned MBA turned HR, and in my last stint, I was leading HR for one of the augmented reality based startups here in Bangalore. I currently advise two edtech HR tech startups on their business and HR models. That is what I'm doing currently while being part-time on a break. I'm also a mother, so part-time on a break. So that's about me. And I'd if you can drop in the chat about who you are, which stream or specialization you're doing your engineering from, if I'm not mistaken, and what is it that you want from the session. I'd like to give you all 5 minutes to put that in the chat. Say a hi to me and introduce yourself, which stream you're in, and what is your expectation from the session. Quick 3 lines in the chat from you. That'll be great. So I'm going to be quiet for 5 minutes and I'll give you some time to put that in the chat for you. To all of you who have said a hi to me, hello. This is what I'd like to reiterate. Please put in your name, the stream where you're currently studying, and what is your expectation from the session. Please be candid. I'm absolutely here to make this more interactive and not do like a one-sided thing, because this is not to help me, this is to help you gain the maximum out of this session. So it'll be great if you can put it in the chat. I still see only hello. If one of you would like to volunteer, put it in the chat, others will follow suit. This is what I'm expecting. So let me probably put it from my end so that you understand it better. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're seeing what I put it in the chat. This is exactly how I want to write. Like I said, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. It's 3:05 by my clock, my laptop clock. So I'm going to give you time till 3:10. If I'm not seeing responses, I've anyway made a very short PPT. I think I'm going to disappoint you because, like I said, this is a session for you. This is a session, of course, for me to know more about you. But if you'll not speak, I'll not know who you are. Just to reconfirm from the organizers, I hope people have access to chat to type things out, because for me, I'm not able to see it. Is it going to the organizers or is it also coming
Yes,
to
yes,
me? If it
everyone
is
is
coming,
having the access. They can mention
okay,
in the chat box.
great, great. Thank you so much, Shivangi, for verifying that. Please put it in the chat. Meenka, you said you're ready. So if you have something, just put it in the chat in this format that I've asked you to. Now I'm going to be quiet. 4 minutes, you're not going to hear me.
I think we are getting some responses.
Yes. Koni Nika, very nice. Thank you for taking the initiative. Refi Islari, hi. Parth, I think your message is half. I'm not really sure how to communicate. I didn't get the last piece, so maybe you would want to rewrite that. I'm going to address part of what Koninika wants, and of course what Refi Islari wants. I'm not sure if you're chat GPTing it, but that's also all right, as long as you know what you want from the session. Okay, to crack the interview. Okay, great. We'll wait for 2 more minutes. I'm really happy that some of you have started writing. It's okay. I see there are 36 people on the chat. It's okay if all 36 don't write. But the idea is maximum of you should be able to communicate what you want out of the session, because it's a session for you. It is not a session for me. Great.
I think students are shy.
Yeah, no, but I'm seeing like 5
They
people
don't
have
want-
written. So yeah, I think they just need some time to open up, which
Yes.
is good. I want to
So-
know how to speak to leader team. Okay. Yes, Shivangi, sorry.
So you can go with these questions till then.
Yeah,
We're
I'll
moving
start
for
off.
questions.
Yeah, we are waiting for 1 more minute and then I'll start off.
Okay, great.
Brilliant. So I see Koninika, Refi Islari, Parth, Minka, Vibha. One last person who would like to put in their thoughts. And it's okay, you're just chatting. I don't even know you by faces. So, chat can be your biggest friend. And you can put in your thoughts. Apeksha, want to know what are the challenges in communication. Okay, great. All right, so we are dot on time and I'd like to get started. In the meantime, if anyone else has anything else to also put in the chat, please feel free to do that. So let me get started with this short presentation that I have for you people. Just give me a second. All right. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. I'd like for you to unmute and just tell me you're able to see the screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. So this is my face. You anyway see it on the screen, so you may ignore it. But yeah, this is me. This is my name. I'm Deepti KS. I'm a strategic HR advisor to startups currently. Today, the topic that we're going to cover is soft skills in today's times to crack job interviews, because essentially all of you are studying, especially in your probably your third and fourth year to get a job, and that is what is the biggest worry or concern at the top of your mind. So we're going to address that. Um, this is me. This is my URL. I'll drop it in the chat if you'd like to, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn, or send me a connection request. Either way, that works. And this is so I also do resume making session for people separately. So if you'd like to do that, feel free to reach out. I'll send this. I'll put in this link also. You may DM me if you want any discount code, just in case if you decide to go ahead. So that's a little bit about me. The first thing that we're going to cover in this conversation is the 5 soft skills you need to be successful in today's times. Okay. Um, so before I even go to that, I'd like to know how many of us have heard this phrase saying opportunity knocks at your door only once, or something similar. Opportunity knocks only once at your door. How many of us have heard it? If you can raise your hand, there is also a feature of raising the hand. If you have done that, if you don't want to put a yes in chat, you can also raise your hand. Okay. I see a couple of hands going up. Got it. Okay, great. Thank you. You may now lower your hand. So while that is a very famous thing that is there for lowering the hand, I think you have to click the same button again. So while all of us may have heard that phrase, there's one phrase that I strongly believe in, which is you should go and knock on opportunities door. Okay. And this is something that it is not just a saying that is there at the back of my mind, but it is something that I have practiced throughout my life so far. And it is all the more relevant for the Gen Zs and for the young and upcoming professionals in the corporate world today. What does it mean? It means that there was a time when probably companies would come to your colleges, pick up a handful of students, or probably get almost everyone placed, and you would happily walk into an organization, get trained, and get started with your work. And that no longer holds good. While some part of it still continues to remain to be true, but most of it has changed from the fact that the 100% placement is now almost a myth, right? There are couple of you who may choose to not get into a job. You may choose to start up on your own, or you may choose to study further, or you may choose to take a different path, or some of you, touch wood, I hope it doesn't happen, may not get a job of your choice through your campus, and you may have to look at offline placements, right? And what is more important in today's time is to figure out where are you going to get these opportunities from, so that you go and say a yes to these opportunities, and then let the opportunities decide for themselves if they want you or not. Okay. So the 5 soft skills that we're going to talk about are in relation to the aspect of you choosing to knock on the opportunities door. So here are the 5 soft skills that will help you to be successful in your career, and especially towards the start of your career. The first one is teamwork. We all have heard it. We know what teamwork is. Teamwork is the ability to work well with others, which is essential in any job. But teamwork is much beyond that, right? I'm not sure if as part of your engineering curriculum, you get to work on projects together, or you get to work on, say, live projects or internships together. But a lot of it, when you're doing together in a cohort of 3 to 4 people, or maybe even more, that is when you start understanding how much ever you may be even studying in the same class, you may be different from each other, and your working styles may differ. That is why teamwork is very important in today's times, because say, for instance, tomorrow you end up getting into a tech job, right? But you will still have to work with the non-tech people. It may be the HRs of your organization, it may be the finance team of your organization, it may be the operations team of your organization. You should know how to work alongside with them to ensure that the business is moving as usual and your work is not getting stopped. So which is why teamwork is one of the most essential things for you to build to ensure that your career will be successful. The second thing is communication. So a lot of you have mentioned, you want to understand how to actively listen, how to be a better communicator in order to lead teams, how to ensure that you're doing communication effectively, right? And these are some of the things that I will cover towards the end. But yes, like most of you already realize the importance of communication. So that is the second important soft skill that you need to build. The third one is problem solving. So problem solving is not just only about identifying problems or solving them, but it's also, to understand what other alternatives can you think about, right? In terms of, there may be some problems which may be unsolvable, but what are the other alternatives that you can think about to mitigate? Suppose you have, say problem A, you don't know how to solve problem A. What solution B can you think about which can help mitigate problem A as part of implementing that? So the diverse mindset of looking at a problem not just in a silo but in the entirety of the whole business is a very, very crucial skill in today's times, because that is what is expected of youngsters like you, people who are coming out of college fresh. Flexibility, right? So this, I'm not sure if you know this, but I keep writing about Gen Zs, and one of the biggest things that I've heard from many leaders, not just in HR but across, is that Gen Zs are very rigid. Okay, which is why it is all the more important to build this trait of flexibility. What do I mean by flexibility? When you start off, in your corporate journey, and this I'm speaking personally out of my experience, there are many of you who may think, oh, I'm suited only for this role, this is the only package I want, this is the only designation I want, this is the only location I want, right? You narrow down your own choices because you're very fixated that this is what I want in life. And often than not, even if you want it, it may come to you, but at a very, very later point in time, when you would have already seen the other people start off with their work, start earning, start saying yes to a lot many things. So in my opinion, flexibility means the ability to say yes so much that there comes a time when you will have the flexibility to say no to things that you don't like, right? So to be able to adapt to change in today's times, and to be able to say yes to things till the time you have established your expertise to start saying no to things that you don't like, that is flexibility for me in today's times, and that is a very important trait for you to have. And last but not the least, time management. Again, all of this won't matter if you don't know how to manage your time. Like if your thought process is, oh, okay, this I will do 2 years from today, or this I will do 2 months from now, and you never start working on it, you'll never be able to prioritize your tasks. You'll never get those tasks done, and then you won't be valuable for the organization, which is why time management is of paramount importance, which means you should be fixing up a time and you should be adhering to that time when you are delivering tasks with respect to the organization. So these are the 5 major skills that you need to have in today's times. Does anyone have any questions around this in chat? And I'm going to take a look at the chat. Okay, Aishwarya has said what problems you're facing in personality and soft skills. Yes, okay. So yes, I'd like to address some of the things that you have asked here before I move to the next slide, which is, you wanted to understand that how to be confident, how to be fluent in your communication, and, how to be able to communicate to crack interviews, and then, of course, how to inculcate the habit of active listening, and how to speak to leader teams. So these are the 4 things that I see on my screen right now. So let's start from the perspective of how to be confident. So confidence is something that you can build within you. It is not, if there is a myth in your mind that some people are far more confident than the others, and I can never be as confident as he or she is, please just remove that myth from your mind. Okay, over a period of time you will become confident once you start understanding what is your area of expertise. Okay, so for instance, suppose you are say you are a CS, computer science engineer, right? And you're extremely good at explaining how technology works or how AI works in today's times, and you are actually trying to justify something about, say, MATLAB, if I may pick up that topic, because I'm an electronics and communication engineer, in your interview, you will not have that confidence because you don't know enough about the topic. So firstly, if you want to have confidence when you're communicating, you need to research about the topic well, which means even if you don't know, you have to read as much as possible and you have to be as truthful as possible, saying, okay, based on my limited knowledge, this is what I know. Right. For instance, I've taken you through 5 soft skills. Maybe tomorrow you may have a session with someone else who may say, you know what, there are 10 important soft skills that are important in today's times, right? Neither is that person wrong nor am I, right? It's based on what we research and what knowledge we have around the topic. That is how we say, okay, this is what matters in today's times. Okay, so everyone is going to be unique. They're going to come with their own set of experiences. So if you want to build that confidence in yourself, firstly start practicing amongst yourselves in terms of what are the things that you can talk about. So say for instance, tomorrow you're preparing for an interview about a certain organization. Again, I'm going to take you through a a slide on my PPT wherein I've shown that what is it that you have to be prepared for. But one part of it is researching. So unless you have researched well and unless you have practiced well, you will not be able to communicate in a manner that will exude confidence. Okay, and that is one of the biggest things in terms of building confidence in the way you talk. The second thing is, active listening, right? Active listening is something that you have to do very consciously, because it doesn't, to anyone, even for me for that matter, it doesn't come very naturally, right? To be an active listener, you have to build the patience to understand what is the other person trying to communicate to you. And that comes with time, that comes with a lot of practice, that comes with a lot of patience. Um, how to communicate to crack the interview, I think I'm going to cover that in the slide that I'm going to show you next. And then, you know, does girls have more good communication skills than boys? What is your view on being an HR expert? No, I don't think so. I think, again, it's a myth. It is not about girls having better communication skills than boys, or boys being more technically advanced than girls. These are all myths in today's world. I think it is just, as a person, what are you drawn more towards? I've met enough number of tech talent who happen to be women in my life, who are not extremely amazing with their communication skills, but their tech knowledge is bang on. And then I've met some really, really, great speakers in the form of men who have gone to host, events as speakers or as MCs. So all this is, just something that is there at the back of your mind, or maybe it is something that as students you speak about often, but there is no such gender bias that exists. It's all about what is your priority at a given point in time. I hope that answers your questions, Shalini. Sure. So now let me move towards, how to crack an interview, because that is there at the top of your mind for most of you. So these are the, top 5 things that you need to do while you prepare for a job interview. The first thing is research about the company. Okay. So like I mentioned, you will only have confidence to communicate about something when you know about it, right? Which means if you know, suppose say tomorrow a Google is coming to your college, you first, while you know Google from, because you Google it, or because your phone has Android, or because you have interacted with Google as a customer, you still need to research about it from the perspective of being a potential employee, which means you have to Google about Google to know more about what the company is. So what essentially are you going to research about? When was the company founded? What are some of its top-notch products? Who are the key people in the management? Who are the key decision makers? What are the current problems that the company is trying to solve? how does the culture of the company look based on your research through websites like say Glassdoor or Ambition Box, etc. These are the couple of things that you need to research. If you have the numbers handy, like what are the revenues they are doing, and what is the headcount, all that would be like an add-on benefit which showcases that you're someone who's also adept in numbers. Okay, so these are some of the things that you would want to showcase. And then apart from that, like it's written here, acquaint yourself with the company's mission, vision, values, and history. Okay. The second thing is practice your answers. Like I said, again, good communication comes from the fact that you're doing your research and then you're also practicing. So you may stand in front of a mirror and practice some of the common things that are asked. Like, for instance, let us take some HR questions that may be asked. Where do you see yourself 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line? Okay. For you to practice, you need to know why is someone asking you that question? What is the relevance of that question, right? So as someone, there can be multiple answers, and there are no right or wrong answers. You can answer in the sense that you would like to grow with the company, and right now you're joining at this position and you've done your research. 3 years down the line you may be at that position. At the same time, you can talk from the perspective of, I want to be with the organization for 3 years with the intention of starting up on my own 3 years down, post 3 years, right? So there are no right or wrong answers about it. It's about your own belief in terms of what you want to get out of the organization for your own personal growth and as well as for the organization, right? So some of the common job interview questions, share your biggest strengths, share your areas of improvement, and what are you doing about it to mitigate your areas of improvement. Where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years down the line? Give me a walkthrough of your profile. These are all the kind of questions that you will get in your job interviews when you are sitting for these on campus or off campus interviews. So prepare for the most common job interview questions and practice responding to them aloud. So you can do that in a mirror. You can get yourself a peer who can, you both can practice together. You can give your peer, when I say peer, a classmate or a college mate, you can give candid feedback to each other. Hey, I don't think you should be answering it this way. I think you can do a little bit more of it, and keep your answers crisp. No one wants to hear long stories, right? So if someone has asked you, walk me through your profile, you should be ideally done within 2 to 3 minutes. Okay. That is how you should be timing yourself and talking, because if you don't time yourself, like again, I said, time management is one of the soft skills that you need to learn. So unless you time yourself, you will not know how much will you go overboard. The third thing is dress for the occasion, whether a virtual interview or an offline in-person interview. You have to dress appropriately, which means stick to business formals, like maybe a shirt and pant, and if it's like really a very big consulting firm or firms like that which are coming up, maybe wear a suit also if you would like to wear. For men, for women, you can pick up a skirt and blouse of your choice, or again a shirt or pant, or a salwar suit or a sari if you prefer that, right? Just ensure that you're dressing appropriately, which can make a first great impression. um, be prepared to ask questions. Like I said, these are very these are important pointers, because what happens is, when you are very early in your career, you feel, oh, what will I ask them? If I ask them, maybe they will reject me, etc., etc. But no, if you go with well prepared questions, people actually respect you for that. Whether they give you the job or not, they will remember you for sure, and that is needed, because this is just the start of your career. Maybe you will again be interviewed by the same person if you don't get the job right now, maybe 2 3 years down the line, and that person will appreciate you for the kind of questions you asked at this stage, right? So have questions ready. Do not bombard the interviewer with too many questions, but have like smart questions ready, like in the sense like, how do you see the business progressing? Why are you hiring for this particular role? What are you expecting from the person who's going to join in this particular role? um, uh, you know um, how do you feel, like, as an organization, what do you think is the impact of AI on your workforce? How is the culture of your organization, right? These are some of the things that you can ask, right? Apart from that, you can also ask, if suppose I get hired for this role, uh, what should be my career path looking like for the next 2 to 3 years? These are some of the things that you can ask the interviewer. So have several questions ready to ask the interviewer. Asking questions can show that you're engaged and prepared, but do not go overboard. Like, don't ask more than 3 or 4 questions, because then that again shows that uh, that kind of I don't know the exact word for it, but it kind of kills the vibe, if I were to put it, in the Gen Z lingo. So do not ask more than 3 or 4 pertinent questions, because if they would have made up their mind they want to hire you, you can all ask all those questions once you get the offer letter as well. And then follow up. Okay. So after the interview, just be sure to send a thank you note, right? If that is possible, do that, because it again showcases the fact. See, the the one thing that you have to keep in mind is, even if your interview goes well, it doesn't really translate into you getting the job. There may still be chances that you will be rejected in that particular role, but be thankful about the fact that they considered you for the interview. Okay. You may end up feeling dejected, you may end up feeling that maybe I wasn't worth it, or I will find a better job than those people are giving me, or whatever, right? Just go with a neutral mindset, just thank them and just say, okay, fine, if anything comes up in the future, just in case you even don't end up getting hired, if there is something that comes up in the future, please let me know, and here's my resume for your database. Okay. So these are some of the things that you can do from your end to ensure that your interview preparation and the post interview follow up is in place. So I'm going to just stop sharing my screen and see on the chat if you have any questions. How can I develop my communication skills and become an effective communicator? So I'm taking the question after Shalini's, which has been put in by Ankit. So Ankit, to develop your communication skills, like I said, do your if it is with respect to interview, of course you have to do your research, or if it is with respect to, suppose, you have to go to an event and probably the event has multiple people, wherein you have the opportunity to get yourself introduced to them, and then also leave an impression on their minds about yourself. Again, go do your research about it, and then go prepared with a nice introduction about yourself. Practice it in the mirror, so that when you shake hands, you're like, hey, hi, I'm Ankit, I'm from place, and I'm really excited to meet you. Can I know a little bit more about your background, etc., etc.? It's nice if we can stay connected. How would you prefer to stay connected? Would LinkedIn be a good idea, etc.? These kind of things. But apart from that, if you generally want to improve your communication skills and become an effective communicator, there are multiple things. You can watch good movies which have like great dialogues in English, or probably in a very succinct manner in terms of the article. What I mean to say, the articulation is really good. You can watch movies, you can read articles. There are I can give examples more from the HR perspective, because I'm more on that side. But Harvard Business Review case studies or articles are really good, because they are articulated so well that you feel that the way they write a particular thing, you actually think from their perspective and are like mind blown. Wow, this is also how you can think about a certain thing. You can follow people on LinkedIn. There are so many thought leaders out there who put out like really great content. You can choose to follow them. I've seen many good leaders or thought leaders, even from the tech fraternity, who write about a certain topic so well that as an HR and someone who's like a non-coder now, I still understand what they are trying to say. And that is what, so communication is, even someone who doesn't understand it should be able to understand it. How do you make a child understand what you're building, right? Because a child essentially doesn't have the vocabulary to grasp a lot of things. But if you're able to make a child understand what it is, that means you have aced your communication skills. So you have to think from that perspective. You can also join clubs like Toastmasters Club. That's really good for you to practice your communication skills. You will also get tangible feedback from people that are around you. You can join public speaking workshops. You can, I mean, there are so many things. It's just endless. YouTube can also be a friend. You can look up some of these videos and people teach you how to, speak more effectively. So in today's times, I think the wealth of knowledge is there a lot, but a lot of it depends on whom we decide to follow or what we choose to follow in our minds. I hope that answers your question, Ankit. If it does, if you have any further questions, please put it in the chat again. I'm going to Meenka's question, which says, I want to develop my leadership skills. Can you suggest me some ways? So Meenka, thank you very much for this question. All of us are born with the with the dream of leading one day, right? And it's we may want to lead, we may already be leading in different aspects. So what I mean by that is, suppose you're the leader of a committee, right? And you're brainstorming with your fellow classmates to make an event happen. You're already a leader in that perspective. So I think to further hone your leadership skills, what you can do is pick up opportunities wherein no one is lifting their hand and say, hey, you know what, just give it to me. I would like to give it a try, and I'd like to take a lead on it. Okay, that is how you take lead in the corporate world. So there'll be a lot of things to which people will say, no, I don't want to do it. And those are the kind of things when you pick up, and if you deliver on that, you have to also deliver on that. Just picking it up or strategizing won't work, but you have to deliver on that. Once you do that, that is how people will start recognizing, oh, she can take lead. All we need to do is we need to give her people to work alongside with, right? So start saying yes where people say no at the beginning, so that when the time comes when you want to say no to a lot more things, you will have that flexibility at that point in time. Apart from that, I think you can also go through courses, etc. But in my humble opinion, of over 11 years of work experience, courses only help you to a certain extent, unless you're put into those real scenarios wherein you have the opportunity to take lead on something. It doesn't really help. So in my opinion, I believe in on the job training than only just classroom training. So for me, if someone is saying, you know what, oh, is this the help that you need, I'd like to take a lead on it, and then actually get things rolling and get it delivered from the scratch to the end. That is when people will start recognizing you as a leader, whether you have the title or not. I hope that answers your question, Meenka. Priya, I'm coming to your question. What specific soft skills do employers look for in graduates? Like I mentioned, some of them I've already mentioned in my slide, but then apart from that, I think some of the things is also how well do you know technology, since you are already we're moving towards a world where technology has to be understood far more than it was expected to be understood when we graduated from our college, and I graduated from my engineering way back in 2010. So I think your understanding of technology and your comfort with it is something that is being looked at. Your your level of adaptability, and like I said, flexibility, right? One of the soft skills that I've covered. That is another thing that you need to be very well aware of, in terms of if you're being perceived as someone who's flexible, if you are perceived as someone who's approachable. This is again another skill that people look for, because people want to work with people who are approachable, who have the ability to absorb different mindsets and say, hey, I'm okay to look at it, even if my point of view is this, I'm okay to look at it from your point of view, and let's vote for the best idea and not for the best person out there. So I think good communication skills, the ability to do good teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking, data analysis, and your comfort with technology, time management, these are all of the things that you would like to pick up. Employers would look at you when they're hiring you. So Great. Does anyone want to unmute and talk? I'm not sure. Shivangi, I see you. I'm not sure if people want to unmute and talk because I see a couple of
Actually,
hands
we
up.
haven't allowed mics for everyone. There is some eco issue
Ah,
there.
okay.
So that's why we have
Okay.
kept option this chat box well option.
Okay. Okay. No problem. So I'm moving to the next question, and then
If you want,
after
I
that,
can read the questions for you.
no, I'll read it. That's all right. And then I'll move towards the last slide, which I have, and then I'll be happy to take up more questions if we have time. So how can we develop our soft skills while studying or during internships? Uh, it is on the job, Apeksha, right? So when you're working with someone, try picking up on this, you know, the smaller nuances of things. It doesn't need to be like I have to attend a course to become great at a particular soft skill. No, it is all about. So when you ask me, how do you pick up on communication? It is when you're watching how your peers are speaking with their managers, or how your manager is speaking with his or her manager, or how people in a certain team talk about a particular subject. Are they talking from the perspective of, oh, let's come, let's solve it together, and this is how we brainstorm it, etc., or this is the problem that we have at hand, let's come together to get this done, or to get this out of the way in the next couple of weeks, or whatever it is. So I think a lot of it is absorbed on the job. So if you have joined somewhere like as an intern or as a full timer, and if you're not concentrating on the conversations that are going around you, and you're more focused only on your work, or if you're thinking, if you're going to attend only a soft skills training and that is how you're going to become great at it, no, that's not how it's going to happen. It is going to happen by observing your environment. So the biggest challenge that a lot of graduates faced post the COVID, or especially the COVID batch people, is they could not understand how the real life functions once you're put into like real offices, right? Because they were so used to talking to the screens, doing everything virtually. They did not understand how these conversations happen. Why are people doing these conversations? Because part of it is also observation. So one of you, I think Priya, asked specific soft skills is also how much can you observe and pick up things, because people want to work with people who are more independent, or who can be made independent over a period of time. They do not want to work with people um, who can be trained, but then will always keep on relying on someone else to do their jobs, right? So the idea of providing training from the organization's end is to give you all the to equip you with all the knowledge, with all the skill set, etc., so that you can start operating as much independently as possible, right? So um, if you're observing your surroundings better, you will slowly understand, okay, how people react. Okay, these are the people who, even if they are like manager and employee, they don't really like talking to each other, right? So if I want to get something done from someone, maybe I can reach out to this person for this thing, this person for that thing. These things are observed via observations. These things no one is going to come and tell you, because there are going to be some things which are like unset rules. I'm pretty sure you may be having unset rules in your college also, right? Like there are rules on paper, but there are also other rules in terms of, okay, this is how you have to be if there is a senior around, or whatever it is, right? So those are unsaid rules. You only get through them once you start observing. So I think part of it, or the majority of it, is going to be observation, and then some of it is also going to be through formal training. So if you think that there are some soft skills in which you're not really great at, you can always reach out to your manager and say, hey, you know what, I feel that I'm not very good at, say, negotiation skills, right? Why don't you recommend me a training which I can attend so that I can become better at it? Okay, so these are some of the things that uh, you can take care of, Apeksha. And if you think I have not answered it well, you can very well put it in the chat that I need more clarification on this. Okay, so I don't see any further questions, so let me go back to the um, last slide that I have at my end. Just give me a minute. Okay, all right, so we're going to the last slide, and this is more from the resume perspective, because in my last organization, there was a role. So that we were hiring for 4 interns, and front end, back end, and product design and UI UX. Product design and testing. These were the 4 interns that we are hiring for. And we got close to 5,000 resumes. I have manually screened close to 3,000 resumes. And the one thing that separates really people who will really get the chance of getting through to the interview round than not getting through, irrespective of whether they have the talent or knowledge or not, is the resume format, and is how they've written the story behind the resume, or how they've introduced themselves over the email along with the resume, right? So that is going to separate people who are going to be interviewed versus people who are not going to be interviewed. So there may be really good people out there who may have much more knowledge than the people who actually got shortlisted for the interview, but it is because their resume didn't have the right set of data, or it wasn't presented in the most articulate format. That is why their profile will not get through, which is why this is an important topic I thought I'll cover, which is tips for writing your resume to get hired. Okay. And why is it important? Because the job market is competitive and you need to stand out from the crowd to ensure that you're going to get hired. So these are some of the resume tips. Again, not all exhaustive. There are, of course, there'll be more points to it, but these are some of the major points. So start with a strong resume objective. So your objective part should be really clear as someone who's a college goer, who's probably stepping into the corporate world, into your first job. It is important that you're putting in your objective, which means, suppose your objective is to be to gain experience in the field of AI and ML, to ensure that you're building products which are or building any specific industry, if you like building medical products or building products in the medical industry, to help doctors evaluate patients better, something like that, right? So your objective in terms of your resume or what you want to do in your career should be very, very strong, and it should not be more than 2 to 3 sentences. Okay, minimum 2, maximum 3. And then you have to format your resume correctly. Okay, which means it has to be easy to read. It has to look professional. So if somewhere you're putting in the dates, then in somewhere you're not putting in the dates, there has to be that consistency. If you're doing that, that confuses the recruiter, and in all likelihood your resume may not get shortlisted, which means all your dates, all your formats, everything has to be consistent. Highlight your skills and experience. Okay. Focus on the areas that are most relevant to the job that you're applying for. So if you've done any relevant internships, projects, live projects, if you've written any research papers, if you have been a part of any committee which wherein you did some work which is relevant to the role that you're applying for, please ensure that you're highlighting those. Please ensure if you're highlighting any awards that you have won. Okay, it may be external, internal, whatever it is, but make sure that you're highlighting those in your resume. Tailor your resume to each job. I think it is more relevant to more mid to senior level employees. At a fresher level, I don't think it is that relevant. But yes, if today you're applying to, say, a machine learning engineer role, and tomorrow you decide to apply for, say, a sales coordinator role, in that case, yes, of course, your resume has to be tailored, because resume can't be heavy on tech when you're applying to a non-tech role. So in that case, yes, you need to tailor your resume, otherwise it's not really needed. Use keywords from the job listing. This will help your resume match the employer's requirements. So this is very important, and this I see missing in most of the resume. So if someone has given you that we are hiring a Java developer, and you have done only C++ related things, and there's one part of it that you've done with respect to Java, but you have not mentioned that, then in all likelihood your profile may not get shortlisted, which means it doesn't need to be 100% match. But yes, if there are any specific keywords that are being looked at, try and include at least, if you have really done work in that. I'm not saying to fudge the data on the resume, but if you have done part of that work, just ensure that you're putting it in your resume, so that when you get shortlisted and you have to explain what was the work that you exactly did, you are prepared in terms of what is it that you're going to talk in the interview. Okay. So yeah, that's all that I had from my end. And then there was this Q&A. So I'm going to come back to the chat and see if there are any questions. I don't see there are any questions from anyone. If you would like to state something out or put in more questions, that will be great. Can you suggest some resources or courses to develop soft skills? I think YouTube is more than enough, Meenka. There are enough and more number of resources available on YouTube um, in terms of developing your soft skills. If you have the money, you can also go for courses from Coursera or Udemy or LinkedIn Learning, right? I usually do some of these soft skills trainings through Udemy or Coursera because I like some of these courses. But it's a choice that you make. And then some of it also comes from like just watching videos of, say, for instance, you can type out how to negotiate with your manager in a performance appraisal, right? If you just type it out on YouTube, you'll get so many videos. You can pick and choose and see a video of your choice and see how two people are talking it out. What are some of the things that you should be talking? What are some of the things you should not be talking, etc., etc. So I think YouTube is going to be your biggest friend. And then you can also read articles. Like I said, there are Forbes articles, there is Harvard Business Review articles, there are People Matters articles, there are so many other NHRD, all these, there are so many blogs that are written in today's times. LinkedIn, in fact, LinkedIn, you can go and see how some of these people are actually, they put out their videos, like someone is a public speaker, or they're teaching you public speaking. They'll put out their videos saying, okay, these are the 3 things that you have to do in public speaking. These are the 4 things you shouldn't do. There are so many people out there giving interview tips. So I think uh, all the, like, first exhaust the free resources that you have at your end, and then see if you'd like to go for the paid ones, because the free resources are enough, right? The only thing is, for you as freshers, when you're starting off, is you need to showcase, uh, first, of course, you need to, whatever you have done has to match the job description. But I'm saying, apart from that, you need to just have that confidence that you'll be able to do the job, and you'll be able to, um, you know, you are the right fit for the organization in terms of that particular role, right? And that you can showcase through a combination of your experience, which is, if you have been part of committees, maybe your studies, your internships, your live projects, any other projects that you have done, or anything even outside work for that matter, right? Anything else that you do. So maybe, you, that way you're a mechanical engineer, but you are also like a theater person who does theater out of hobby. That, in that, maybe you're picking up some skills, and when someone asks you, maybe those are the skills you talk about, and it's not got to do anything with your studies. So I think use the free resources first, and then move to the more paid ones. I hope that answers your question, Meenka. Priya, can you provide some tips on how to balance developing soft skills with academic or technical studies? um like I said, see, soft skills can be a part of academia. Okay, soft skills, again, if that myth is there are no soft skills in academia, again, it's a myth, right? Everything that you do, maybe you are doing projects together, through that you're learning about teamwork. Maybe you are um, peer reviewing your work, or maybe your assignments, etc. That again is a part of teamwork, that is helping you build problem solving skills together. So I think you are already learning all that in academia. The only thing is, um, from a job perspective, you have to focus a little bit more on a couple of more soft skills, like say negotiation, like say problem solving, like say, how to communicate about something in a very articulate, crisp manner, as opposed to in a very longish form. So I think there are no tips to it. You're already learning it. But you have to practice it out with each other, which means if tomorrow a company is going to come and, three of you are going to sit for the company, it would be great if you can practice some of, and you can always Google what are the kind of questions that are asked to freshers in these kind of companies, and then pick up one question each, ask each one of you to answer, ask each one of you to rate each other on that and say, okay, this was the best answer because it was this. And, that is how you prepare together. You will win anything together. It doesn't matter if you end up getting the job or not, but you're going to win it because you are learning in the process, right? If tomorrow a company is coming which is saying, I'm only going to pick 2 people from this college, and you are like 3 of you like really good friends, and you feel like, we should be competing for this job equally, help each other out. The best ones anyway out of that will win, and then whoever remains will get the next best job, right? And like I said, it's just the start of your career. You never know 10-15 years down the line who is going to be where, right? When I passed out from my college, I never thought I would be like this HR person who would be addressing, this esteemed batch of NIT Meghalaya. I never thought that, but I'm here today. There are so many of my friends who are not into the field of HR, who have continued in their fields of software development. So all that doesn't matter in the long run. What matters is how you're helping each other out to win. Okay. And Minka has one more. No, sorry. I think Salima had one question. Ma'am, how can we stay connected with industry professionals? LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best way. So in fact, and now after ChatGPT, I think life has become much easier. You can put in prompts like, I want to connect with the HR leader with 10 plus years of work experience. How should I be introducing myself as a fresher from this college? Please, write me an introduction in less than 330 characters. I think 330 characters is the max that you can write when you're sending a connection request to someone. So I think LinkedIn is the best way to stay connected. Apart from if you do any offline events or anything of that sort, then that's a different thing. But LinkedIn is the best thing that medium via which you can stay connected with industry professionals. I hope that answers your question. Minka, another question, ma'am, can you share strategies for managing stress and anxiety, especially during? Very nice question, Minka. Much appreciated. I think these strategies for managing stress and anxiety will help you throughout your life. Okay, because it is something that you have to learn to manage, and as you age, it becomes all the more difficult to manage stress and anxiety, right? So I think during high pressure situations like exams or presentations, the best way is, if you feel like discussing with a friend works, then probably, friends should study together, prepare for these presentations together. Or if you don't want to talk about the presentation, talk about something else, talk about a more refreshing topic. Maybe you would want to talk about a hobby, or you'd like to talk about a movie that you watched for a couple of minutes, and then again go back preparing for your exams or presentations. I think deviating your mind from the current situation, which is giving you stress, even if it is for some time, helps you in manage that stress. For a lot of people, exercise works, or meditation or journaling works, right? Take your pick in terms of whatever it is that you like. I, for one, what has been a stress buster for me is painting. So if I'm too stressed, if I take it out in painting, I feel very relaxed. For some people, it may be reading. For some people, it may be talking to their parents, or their beloved ones, be it friends, or if you have someone that you really love, right? So I think the strategies across, like whatever strategies I'm sharing with you, I don't know what are your ages, but if you're like in your late teens or early 20s, these are the same strategies which are going to work for you when you reach my age, right? And what's important is the consistency, right? So whatever gives you joy, just continue doing that, because you will have to go through these situations, right? There is no escaping exams, there is no escaping presentations, there is no escaping job interviews, there is no escaping the fact that maybe out of the 15 companies that come on campus, none of them will select you. That is also pretty much possible, right? So the anxiety of a rejection, it may be in the form, it may be personally as well, right? You really like someone, but that someone doesn't like you back. These are all stress inducing situations, and you need to figure out for yourself, okay, what works the best for you, and then give some time to that. Give yourself a break. It is okay to take a break. And this is something that I'd like to tell all the college students. It is okay to take a break and say, you know what, I need a break from this. I know it is important, but I need a break for me to recharge myself and come back to it. Some people, in fact, only like sleeping also, just to combat that feeling of stress. Maybe you'd like to do that also. So strategies are many. It depends on what works the best for you, and then giving time to that, not feeling guilty. Oh, you know what, half an hour I wasted talking to someone. I could have prepared better for this for this exam. I would have gotten 70% instead of 60%. No, it doesn't work like that, right? Unless you're someone who is not studied only, then that's a different thing. But if you're studying and you're giving like 10-15 minutes to something that you like, don't attribute your failure to that 10-15 minutes that you actually spend doing something that you like, okay, to combat stress. I hope that answers your question, Minka. And I have one last question from Shekhar, which I'm going to take up. How can we effectively communicate constructive feedback to peers because without causing offense, because people are offended generally? See, very nice question, Shekhar. The reason people are offended is because we don't understand their trigger points. Okay. It is very easy to say that people are offended, and it is very easy to put it on others because it's a way of passing on that, oh, I'm not responsible for this, you are, to someone else. But what's important is to understand, why did the person get offended? Okay. Did I put a message in a certain way that would have triggered that person to think something else, etc., etc.? Yes, of course, there'll be people who will get offended at anything and everything you say. That is their nature, right? But in 90% of cases, most of the time when people get offended, it's because of the way the same message has been conveyed to them. So it's important to understand what is it about the way the feedback is being given from your end that is triggering the other person, and then not say that. Okay. Constructive feedback, just to let you, I'll just give a short brief intro about what is constructive feedback. So constructive feedback is not your opinion. Okay. So if you're thinking, I'm going to give my opinion in a very nice sugar coated manner, that is constructive feedback. No, it is not. Constructive feedback is, you have data at your end and you're saying, hey, based on this data and based on, whatever conversations we've had so far, I'm just noticing that you're probably not contributing as much as to this project as I would have liked you to. May I know what is the reason behind it? Okay. How can I ensure that you're contributing more effectively to this? Because, unless we both are working on this together, we are not going to achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves. And then that sets us up together as a team for failure. Okay. So you have to have data backed conversations. You have to have conversations which do not trigger the other person, and you may trigger the other person. I'm not saying you will never trigger the other person, but you have to understand what triggered the other person, right? That is again through observation that I spoke about. And then you have to also actively listen. What does active listening mean? It doesn't mean you're nodding your head and you say ha 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 ha, oh yeah. No, it means that you're actually hearing what the other person is trying to say. The other person may be trying to say, hey, I'm not understanding how to manage my time, I want to go out for movie with my friends, but I'm not able to. Their pain point is they are not able to do things that they would have liked to do because the project is getting in their way. So you have to make them understand that, see, I understand that you want to do this, but we also have to prioritize the project. So do you want to do, like, watch that movie on a Thursday when we don't have to sit so much for the project, and then you dedicate your time to project on other days, right? So you have to strike that balance, you have to negotiate, you have to meet them midway. Okay. And that is how you have to give constructive feedback. It has to be data backed, it has to be based on a couple of observations, right? And it has to be in the sense that you both want to resolve it together, not just the fact that it is your responsibility to do it. I hope that clarifies this question of yours, Shekhar, but it's a very good question nonetheless. I would, if anyone has any one last question, please feel free to put that in the chat. I'd like to take that up, but I'm just hoping that this overall has been helpful to you. I see Shivangi. Shivangi is like, no, we have to go. So Shivangi, just
No, it's not like that. If anyone is having any other question, they can ask in the chat box. We are happy to
Sure.
answer.
Sure. And Shivangi, one quick question. I'd like for these people to see this PPT. How should I be sharing it over email, and will it be forwarded, or how is it? What would be the
You
best
can
medium?
share the PPT with me. I will forward to the TPO and he can share among
Okay.
the students. That will work.
Okay.
So
Got it.
I
And
think they're not having, yeah.
yeah, so anyway, the PPT has my information. So if you'd like to get in touch with me on LinkedIn, like one of you asked how to get in touch with industry professionals. And like I said, LinkedIn, it has my LinkedIn URL. It also has my TopMate URL in case any one of you needs any assistance in finding, cracking interviews, not finding jobs, but cracking interviews. I'd be more than happy to help. I think, thank you very much. I see thank you coming. So thank you very much for the invitation, Shivangi. Thank you very much.
You're most
It was a
welcome and
pleasure.
big thanks to you. I'm sure they have gained a lot today.
Sure. Thank you very
Thanks to
much.
the
And I
NIT
wish,
Meghalaya.
yeah, and thank you, NIT Meghalaya, for having me. And I wish you all the best. I do hope you take away something tangible from this and not just like, oh, I heard another session. Okay. I really want you to work on it because it is for your own benefit.
So we're getting feedback. Session was great.
Yes, thank you. All right, so I will be then dropping off, Shivangi. I'll share it over email with you so that you can forward
Okay,
as is.
that's fine. That
Yeah.
will work.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
I have,
Have a lovely day.
thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deepika, on behalf of the whole NIT Meghalaya team, I really want to extend our sincere gratitude for this enlightening and really engaging sessions. Your insights have provided us a valuable perspective on the topic, and I'm sure we all leave here with a deeper understanding and, especially. It will undoubtedly benefit us as we embark on our career journeys. The real life examples and practical tips that you gave us were particularly really insightful. So, thank you once again for the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Shubhavi. Yeah.
So Shubhavi, I
Okay.
have an announcement to make. I have
Yeah.
pinned a link over the chat box. Okay, that's we are having a channel called Whiteboard Foundation where we keep uploading such sessions, and this session will also be uploaded there. So you guys can subscribe to the channel. This is for you guys only. Okay, you will get lots and lots of tips related to the corporate. So you can share it among the peers and get the benefit out of it.
Okay. Yes, Shivangi. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye bye.